so you see Glenn has his picture up there and his bio. And if you go to any of his stories, well, it's on his writer page, but if we weren't on his writer page, oh there, I guess, there it is. You also have his little headshot there and a little mini bio. That is also controlled by shadow posts. So I'll take you to his and just show you the difference. Can't spell. I still can't spell. Oh, and neither could someone else. And so that's the same kind of thing. It's his bio, his short bio is the post's excerpt. His contract's right there, and both his images are easy to upload and edit. They're just like featured images. Yeah, and then he actually uses his arbitrary HTML block and has all sorts of fun stuff. His little blog roll and all that. And yeah, so.
Does he get to manage the page?
Yeah, totally. And because he's set for the author role, he can only see his writer page also. So he can click on the writer page and he'll only be able to see the one that's tied to his name. So yeah, that's our shadow post functionality. It's something. It's one of those things that we want to kind of release out because there's not a way to have a real way to do meta for a taxonomy type, and so this is a good way that still uses WordPress's custom APIs to do the same thing and presents you with a familiar interface. Another thing we want to release that I'm working on is the slideshow thing, and that's also something that's sort of, it's unique to everyone's site, but it just will provide an easy-to-use API to make a slideshow, because all those slides are their own post, they're a post-type slide, and every editor, I think now there's an easier way to do editor. I think that wasn't even WordPress, but when I wrote that, we just kind of threw it together. I made up a way to have another editor within the editor. So, sure.
How does this get related to the taxonomy?
It's on the relationships table.
So do you have to manually create the taxonomy,
No,
or is it automatically?
so what happens is every time you create a post tag or you create a writer, if it's a new one that's not in our database, it'll automatically create the post and then make that association. It's had been problematic. It's not without its bugs, but we're working on that. So we're trying to think of a different way to create the relationship, because the problem with creating a relationship on the relationships table is it's open. You can tag multiple, it's not a one-to-one. And ideally, we want it to have a one-to-one relationship. Each post tag should only have one shadow post. But let's see, what else can I cover that's interesting? Oh, this is fun. Oh, sure.
I'm sorry if this is too simple, but just roughly, where did you change the post table? Make all your customizations to post table?
I can't remember the name of the function called, but there's a way where you can add columns and you can choose what goes in those columns.
It's a WordPress function.
Yeah, you can make them sortable or not. This is something that's just it's sort of unrelated to the other stuff. It's sort of really specific to how we do things, but it's another way we use just WordPress and all the stuff it has built in. We just created a custom page that controls this little box, which we call the promo box right here. And like I said, all that stuff is just using, it's on the options table. This is also a featured image, and it's the same, we use the same UI to, yeah, there it goes. The same UI, the same media library functions. So it stays familiar. There's one consistent media interface for the whole thing. Oh, the name of the function is called Manage Posts Columns. What else is there?
How do you do the ads?
The ads? We have a ad server it's called OAS, and so we just create basically the divs on our theme, and then they get pulled in via JavaScript later. And pay our bills. Sometimes.
There are controllers for that in here too. So
Yeah,
the ad tag team can go in and add custom keywords and stuff so they can target pages.
Yeah, I'll show you that. We try to put as much stuff as we can in CMS so that it's all, so this is just running campaigns.
Does OAS have anything to do with personalizing the ads to the users, or?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it. I mean, it probably uses. I know that we have ad networks, and the networks will sometimes do some eerie targeting. So that's always fun. Yeah.
Do you have any way that you say you cover a lot of AP articles? Is there like a streamlined process for?
So we use APs. They have an API. I forgot what it's called. It's AP something. AP API. It's called that. But it's so they give us an XML feed, and we just take it, parse it, and then insert it into our post table via the WP insert post function, and yeah, label it differently so we know those are wires, and organize that, and also cleans itself up after, like, I think they last for 30 days. So those posts will automatically get deleted unless they get promoted, and that's changing the priority.
Is there a manual editorial filter that those AP posts go through? Do they go into a pending queue until they're...
So no, they just get published to the site, and then if they're important, what we call moving a wire or promoting a wire, we'll give it a higher priority. They come in default with our value 12, which is just our arbitrary value we pick just to mean it's not important, and then so it'll get bumped up, and then maybe edited, and it will therefore become eligible to become on the cover out of its normal AP status.
I noticed you have 197,000 posts or something like
Yeah,
that.
there's a
Did
lot.
you migrate all your old?
Yes, that was probably the most fun thing I've ever done in my entire life. I'm being incredibly sarcastic. It was not easy. Because of course there's. Oh yeah, that's a good. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you did.
It was because our content has been through so many different systems, and so it was all disorganized, and so the migration script itself was actually my first project at Salon. It was and major programming too, which was crazy, but it was I think it took a total of 2 or 3 days to run, and it just went through all of our data, put it in a WordPress friendly format, cleaned up whatever we knew to look for, and put it in the database. Yeah, migration was a very fun process. Everyone, these guys and Karen over there, we were all, spending the night in the office sometimes. I remember threatening to jump off my balcony. I live on the 2nd floor, so I would probably so yeah, it was fun. Good times.
What were you guys in before?
We were in a home-built content management system. It was called MPS. It was built before there were really content management systems. In 1999, correct? 2000?
That's the book, right? Scott Rosenberg's book.
Yes.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah. It was sort of on its way out, and that's why we went to WordPress. It was affectionately, it stands for Millennium Publishing System. It was affectionately called Massive Piece of Shit. Here's another fun thing.
Can you briefly describe what made you choose WordPress over other options, and then what the process was to create the background of all this? I mean, did you write the code for all of this?
Yeah, it was most of the plugins were either done completely from scratch in-house or were modified versions of stuff that were out there. That does make updating hard as far as updating plugins because we've had to tweak a lot of stuff just to fit our specific needs. But yeah, everything was written in-house. As far as the process of choosing WordPress, I think it was down to just how user-friendly it is. As far as, I mean, it's such a pretty interface on the back end, and it has a lot of the tools we wanted just built into it. And there's a huge community around it, so we definitely saw value in that. Here's another fun thing. I totally forgot about this. This is our images that we pull in from the AP blog, and these are just the images, and they're put separately. And of course, all AP images they come with captions too, so these are here. And you can see which wire they came in with, and you can also set them as, so if you have the story's ID, or if you want to use this, if we wanted to use our wires, which is the main reason why we have the wires is for all the great images we get. So if we wanted to set art for a story we have somewhere else, we can just type in the post ID here, click OK, and it's done. So yeah.
So the images are not arriving with a particular story. You can separate the two or buy them in different batches.
Yeah. So sorry. Can you explain what you mean?
When you get your list of stories, they
Uh-huh.
come with artwork or not?
From AP?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
So and then these are additional. This is additional artwork, or you
sometimes.
Okay.
So the way it works is AP will send a list of elements, and sometimes those elements are stories that have linked art, or sometimes it's just art. And so sometimes it's really rare to see images without an associated wire, as you'll see here. But what this means is this is the story that the art came with. So you can see that this is the same story twice. It's because that story included both of these images, and this one too, and probably this one. But
if you had your own author write a story and could use that image, that's where you're saying you could enter that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it's just another way for the person to set it. And also, now that I think about it, there's a way to do it from within the media library itself too, which we kind of tweaked a little bit. And I totally forgot about that. And so this is our media library. It looks a lot like the standard one. But we've had where we can track our usage. So this is all the stories are used on and how they're used. So this is a featured image. If it was a slide, it would say as slide image. And then the notes art can put in notes so that they might upload and crop a picture ahead of time, and then a writer will finish their story and look in here and see that, oh, this is the art that was for me, and then add it from here. And you can also, in here, you can set it as a featured image. So if I wanted to add it to another story, I could just set it right here too, in the same way. That way, it just gives multiple avenues to the same thing, so that people can pick and choose what they like the best. I think what's used most often is the post table, adding art from there, because the art department likes that, because they can just look at a list of stories and see what doesn't have art. They know what stories they're supposed to add art to and just do it in one fell swoop. I think they like that interface the best. Yes?
There's so many departments. There, you've got the authors, the art department, and the editors, top editor. How many people are actually publishing from this? And how do you manage who's doing what?
So that's sort of they've been doing it for years, as far as managing who's publishing and the whole editorial schedule. Some authors will publish their own stories, but sometimes they'll go through copy edit and they'll leave notes for each other, and it's all communication. A lot of it's done from within the CMS, as you saw from the notes field, and a lot of it's done via email, or we have a daily edit call.
Well, what I was really thinking about was
surface